right, welcome to another session of the Fragments of Silicon Reviews, final session for Season 10. Up this week, we have 3 games. First of which is an unusual one, even for this program. It's a game called, we assume it's pronounced Azuza, but, it's not necessarily a foreign word. It is a made-up word. Like, I think Azuza is the world that you play in. Like, the world is called Azuza. But anyway, its full title is Azuza RP Online. And this is an unusual hybrid because it's got some ambitions, really crazy specific ambitions, but ambitions nonetheless. So, bit of context. When this game is saying role-playing RP, they're talking about a specific brand of role-playing. And it's not, your typical role-playing game.
It's the kind where you're playing an online role-playing game and you actually pretend to be the character you made.
Right. It's like it's actually role-playing.
It's more closer to LARPing.
More specifically, this kind of role-playing you are more liable to see on web forums than in actual MMORPGs.
Yeah, it's more closer to LARPing.
Yeah. And, it's like, admittedly, I used to do this kind of thing back in my college years, which was a while ago, let's say.
Something before the dawn of man.
Watch it. I can eject you.
Fair enough.
Like, no, seriously, don't ever fucking talk like that again. Anyway. Web forum. Okay, it wants to be a web forum or role-playing game within an MMORPG kind of setting. It's a lofty idea, but there are some problems. Like, first of all, role-playing, like RPing, you don't have to pay $20 to do that. Often than not.
There's literally a free bot in Discord.
Depends on how much you shell out for books and shit, so.
I'm talking about web form role-playing.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, usually you don't have to, buy in, especially at a not insignificant price either. Like, but, it's like, and it is doing it within the context of this Azuza's world, but, well, here's the thing. I'm not going to say this thing is dead, because there are people playing. It's just like, literal tens of peoples, like maybe 18 to 30. And that's, and there are 2 sections. There's an English section, and there's a Brazilian Portuguese section, which I assume is the dev's point of origin, because, Portuguese, let alone Brazilian Portuguese, isn't the language option you see too often. There is a 3rd section where that's where the PvP is engaged in. Nobody was using it, so I didn't even bother. But yeah, it's like, and if you look on the actual website, this Azuza, like, they promise a lot. Like, you can do anything, be anyone, like, and not just like the chosen hero. Like, you can be a baker, an engineer, and so on and so forth. That would explain why.
Do you have to take part in different mechanical activities if you do that?
I don't know, because I didn't get far in this game. Like,
because most RPG, especially online ones that I know that have like civilian type classes, is usually something you level up alongside a combat type class.
I assume, but here's the thing: as a game, this thing is pretty shit put together, because starting enemies can KO your ass in one hit.
Not just if you go the wrong way.
No, it's like just, meeting a random bandit. He'll punch you into literal mush, and it's like, and health recovery is limited by this thing called vigor. So it's possible, and that crops up really fast, I found. So, and it's like you needed to find something to eat, but then it became like, I was so weak that even a chicken could take me out. Like, and so it was just kind of this endless loop where I got bored, and I got bored with it really quickly. I mean, and this game is asking for a lot of investment for, a very, like I said, there is a very narrow amount of people playing this game, and they weren't very friendly. Not in the sense of they were being racist or whatever. They were just literally not saying anything. It's like maybe I saw a few good mornings and such, but there's just not a lot of chatter here. So that means there's just not a lot of rolling you can play. This kind of requires an audience. And I assume that these people have been been doing this for a while. Maybe there are a few noobs. But yeah, it's like you kind of need a group of people to get into this. So you have somebody to actually bounce off. Because just going into this single player, just you alone, I could not recommend that. Because there's barely anybody there, and like you're probably going to get a better experience out of an actual web form RPG. It's like if this game were free to play, and supported by donations, like there is a donation component to this. I think I'm trying to think if it was related to Patreon. If it was doing something like that, then this might be worth a look. But it wants $20 up front. Usually, and as far as how the game looks, it's it's very. If you were into Saint Seiya and wish it were a shitty 16-bit RPG thing, this has got you covered.
The armor designs are extremely Saint Seiya, so.
And music, there really wasn't any music to speak of. It's a very quiet game. It's like if you, except for the fucking theme song. Oh my god, I could not mute that fast enough. I'm not sure how long that played, but oh boy, that was some of the worst music I've experienced in a while. Like, maybe your mileage will vary, but I mean, it's trying to go for that shonen cheese battle theme, but they translated the lyrics. It's an English singer, and it really doesn't work.
Oh no.
Yeah, different kinds of lyrics work better in different languages, I think.
Yeah.
The graphics look kind of decent, but also the effects are not quite at the same resolution as the character and scenery sprites, which always annoys me a little.
That's probably the case. It's nothing special in terms of graphics, at all. I mean, it's perhaps got more effort than ASCII, but
ASCII or maybe just a plain asset flip.
Right. I mean, but I can't say it's too polished, too high endeavored, at least on the surface. Then again, this is supposed to be a big world. I mean, and you get 3 starting locations. If you actually go into this, don't go to the Oasis City first. It was literally unpopulated. At least there were people around the Athena's sanctuary.
Do they actually use the same terminology as Saint Seiya, or?
I don't know. I never watched Saint Seiya.
Well, just Athena's Sanctuary is a thing.
I mean, it's got Zeus in it. It's got Athena. It's got some other gods, but those, you know, so maybe. But once again, the Greek pantheon ain't exactly scarce in terms of,
No, it was just used in terms with Sanctuary, because that's a big thing.
I guess, I don't know.
And it's worth pointing that Saint Seiya is extremely popular in Latin America.
Yes, it wouldn't surprise me if this was a direct ripoff. It's just I don't know anything about Saint Seiya, outside of like surface shit, because I did not watch this. Like, it's like it's a hole in the information gap. But it's like, as a role-playing game, as a both a MMORPG and a web forum RPG, it fails. I mean, on the basis of shitty game design and the fact that there's not really an audience there to interact with. I mean, I can't say it's totally abandoned, but there's not enough people that's populating this world to make it worthwhile. So
There are normal NPCs, or is everything supposed to be done by players?
I'm not exactly sure. Like, I did come across a shopkeeper, but I think that was an NPC. But it's like, once again, that's kind of, that. Okay, going under the RP hood. One of the tedious aspects of civilian role-playing is standing around.
Yeah. If you're doing civilian role-playing right, people would think you were an NPC.
Yeah, it's like, of all things I'm going to bring up, it's a Grand Theft Auto. I'm trying to think, was it Vice City or San Andreas? It was one of the PlayStation 2 ones. And all of like the computer functions could be done by actual players. So, like the taxi drivers are actual people and such. And the thing of it is role-playing that you're acting like an actual taxi driver. So if somebody's standing around as a shopkeep, well, I mean, they're standing around as a shopkeeper.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, and I could buy things from them, theoretically. I didn't have any money, but I assume that's a role-playing NPC, but I wasn't 100% sure. So, if that was a person, kudos for staying in character. And you do get, like, in-character experience points. It's just, the big issue isn't so much, role-playing as a character. I mean, you can do that. Granted, the actual profile options are pretty limited. But it's more the interactions between character interplay. That's the big thing that's missing, and that's a big thing in any sort of role-playing game that's played with real people. Now, it's like, you may want to be a humble baker, but, if there's nobody buying your bread, that's a problem.
Indeed.
So, once again, overall score 3 out of 10. Avoid. It's too expensive. There's too small of an audience. What's in there isn't very good. And you can do this kind of thing for free on the internet. As far as where that is, I leave that up to the audience who'd be listening to this, because that's beyond the scope of this review.
Yeah, there are different strokes for different folks out there. Go find something you like if you're into it.
And indeed, it's like, anyway, so that'll about do it for Azusa RP Online. Be sure to tune in after the break, as Twilight Winter will be reviewing the Majesty of Colors remastered.